Hey artists, art teacher Abby here with you, ready to make some art. Today we are making Toes in the Sand, which is a recycled newspaper project from the summer box. And I actually, instead of newspaper, grabbed some of these white pages, which you probably have no idea what that is, but your parents can explain what the white pages are. And they really aren't used that much, so they end up in the garbage or the recycle bin all the time. And so I figured this would also be a good alternative to newspaper, which often gets recycled and thrown away. So we are gonna start with some of these white pages and some of our blue and teal paint. And I'm just going to start painting my papers. And it's totally fine that these are a little bit see-through because it kind of adds an interesting texture to it when you can see some of the words. A lot of artists use recycled papers, old book pages, newspaper, things that have words on them because it kind of gives it a really interesting texture when you can kind of see through that layer. It kind of is interesting. And so don't be worried if your paint is still kind of see-through. And then I'm gonna do some teal on this page. I might even take a little bit of darker blue, kind of stroke some darker blue in this side, and take a little bit of the lighter blue and stroke some of the lighter blue on this side just to give it a little bit of a change of color. And then I'm gonna set this aside and let both of these papers dry. And you do have one more piece left in case you need extra, but we can also use that for something I will show you here in a bit. Then, while that is drying, we are gonna grab, you have a lighter piece of paper, and you're going to trace your feet using your pencil on this lighter piece of paper. So it's just like when you do turkey hands and you set your hand down and you take your pencil and you go around like this, except you're doing your feet. My feet were a little too big for this project and for our paper, so I borrowed my little artist. I used his feet. And so you can see I outlined his feet while he stood on the paper. And if you need someone to help you trace your feet, you can grab someone to help you with that part. But they're gonna trace around your feet, and then we are gonna cut those feet out so that we have some feet to work with for this project. So I'm gonna give you some time to do that part, and then when you have your feet traced and cut out and your wave paper dry, we will come back together and I'll show you how to put all this together. I'll see you soon. All right, artists, I've got my feet cut out and I've got my wave paintings dry. And so now we're going to create our beach scene. So what we want to do is create the top part to look like waves that are coming in, and then we're going to use on the bottom our paper bag to look like sand. And then we are going to add our feet on the bottom to look like our feet are, we're looking down at our toes in the sand and the waves coming in. So I'm going to start by grabbing one of my painted pieces of paper, and I'm just going to start tearing this down. And it's okay if it is not a perfect line. It's actually better if it's a little bit wavier. So if you'd rather cut, you can. But what's interesting about when we tear is, see how it's showing some of the white of the paper? That actually helps it look a little bit more like waves coming in. There we go. So we got our pieces of paper here, and I actually have some of this leftover white that I didn't use, so I'm gonna tear some strips of that too. And then what we're gonna do is just kind of play with layering some of these, I might try to make this just a little bit smaller and a little bit wobblier. So we can just kind of layer some of these pages to look like water and wave ripples coming in. And you can kind of tilt them at different angles while you're layering to give it a little bit more of that water feel. I'm gonna kind of layer a little bit here like this. And you don't have to fill the whole paper because we're gonna use this bottom part for sand. But the ripple effect kind of works there. So once you kind of have some strips cut, you're gonna glue, and you can brush your glue on, or you can do a little wave ripple. You can also put it on one of your glue plates. I'm gonna see what happens if I paint it on. But if I'll get like a little bit flatter, sometimes when you just put some dots or some squiggles of glue, it ends up being a little bit too wrinkled and it doesn't always dry flat. So sometimes using a paintbrush can kind of help smooth it out when you're working with a lot of different paper layers. I'm gonna kind of tilt this, zigzag that a little bit, add some glue to the back here. Kind of paint that on. And use my hands to sort of press and flatten a little bit. And you can glue on to the background piece that you're gluing on top of, or on the piece that you're setting down. So you can kind of work both ways with your glue. And let's see, I might use this, got this darker piece here. That. Add maybe some white strips to these. How's it going, artist? How are your waves coming along? Good, I'm sure they're looking great. All right, let's add this piece here. And if it's starting to come up a little bit too much, you can always add a little bit more glue to an edge if it's sticking out. Kind of flatten those pieces back down. That. Let's see, I need some more right here. And let's see, let's do maybe one more. Okay, and then I might add, because the waves are coming in to the shore, there's usually a little bit more of the white cap of the wave, the white part of the wave. So I'm gonna add just a few kind of little strips of white just to kind of add to that effect. But you can make your water look any way you want, because this is your project, your art. Okay, I've got some wave caps kind of coming in here. I don't really like how this edge is too square, so all I'm gonna do is just kind of rip some of that off there. Okay, so now I need to create the effect of sand right here. So I'm gonna take my paper bag and half of it. So I'm gonna cut one side off my bag. I just have a side like this. This should cover the space I need. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna crumple it out. Make a big ball of it. I'm gonna unfold it. Crumple it again. And unfold it. And crumple, crumple, crumple. And unfold it. That is gonna give me a little more texture, which is gonna make it look a little more beach-like. And then I'm going to glue this piece here. So I'm probably gonna need a lot of glue. So I'm actually gonna use some of the glue I have squirted in my glue cup here. So if you've got a glue plate, you can glue that down. I'm going to just get quite a bit of glue. Spread that on. And then kind of glue. If you need to kind of re-crumple a little bit as you're going, you can kind of scrunch it up and give it a little bit of texture while it dries. Okay, so I've got my kind of ocean waves coming in. I've got my sand. Now I need to add my feet in the sand. And for this part, you can, if you want to go back in and draw like some toenails, even if you wanted to grab some marker or paint and kind of add some colored toenails, you can. If you want to just kind of keep it little outlines like this, you can do that. I'm just going to kind of keep mine little outlines for now. I could always go back in and add some toenail polish if I wanted to, just so our toes don't look as bare. And what you want, what you want is to not put your whole feet in. You want to have some of it cut off, because if you are looking down at your feet, you don't usually see your whole foot. You see part of your legs sticking out, and you only see really like the top half of your feet. So we're gonna actually glue it lower than the paper so that we can cut that part off. So I'm gonna add some glue to my feet here. Use my brush to kind of spread that out. And I'm gonna kind of put mine at a little bit of an angle here like this. You can place your feet anywhere you want on your beach. You can put it off to the side, in the middle, going straight, going crooked like mine. There we go. And then you can see that there's a lot of extra paper here, which is fine. We can make our piece a little bit bigger than we need to, but I do want to cut off this part of the feet. And so I'm just going to take my scissors and very carefully kind of trim that edge so that we kind of have this effect of standing with our toes in the sand and the waves crashing in. Now I am getting some curling from the thinness of the paper. So if that happens, you can kind of roll it the opposite direction that's curling, or you can put some heavy books on it while it dries. And there we go, toes in the sand. Now if you wanted to go back and paint some more, or if you have some tissue paper from your other Artful Seeds projects, you could add some layered tissue paper. You could, once you put the sand in, if you wanted some of this layers coming in on top of the sand, you know, that could look good. Like maybe now that I've got that on there, I can take a little strip and kind of add some more of the waves crashing in. If you wanted to put a little bit closer to your toes or going over your feet, you could. Any way you want to finish this art piece is totally up to you. Okay, artists, thank you so much for making art with me. I'll see you next time. Bye.